Hello, everybody. Hi, Charlene. And hi, Erik.
Hey,
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Nice quiet day. Relaxed. And now we're going to talk about terrain crafting. Oh, because Bertrain
Yeah.
also joined us. Hi, Kim. So, Erik, how about you start by telling us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I will. I'm just gonna see here if I can see the ones who are here. That would be nice. Are there, can I see that somewhere? No?
Probably in YouTube. You need to open YouTube, but I can also bring
Ah,
up
okay. Yeah,
I can
yeah.
also
But
bring up some
hi
comments as well.
everyone that I can't see right now, but I feel your presence. Yeah, I don't know what you want to know, Carl. I'm a Swedish guy. And like I told you just before, I'm pretty new in a way in this. Um, in a way, I've been a Warhammer and big fantasy nerd my entire life, of course. But maybe you could say I came out of the closet as the big fantasy nerd I am about a year ago.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, and that was really surprising because your work is really high quality. It's
Thank you
but
so much. Maybe maybe I'm just good in Photoshop. You don't know that yet.
But you mentioned that you had also done some arts before, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I was drawing all the time when I was a kid, and it was all about details, like tiny, tiny figures in big paintings. A lot of things happening anywhere. They were everywhere,
Oh, okay.
and it was actually and that plus my favorite books of all times that I read in my teens, the Lord of the Rings books, kind of married into this passion for creating and passion for fantasy worlds, like something beyond this. But that still reflects this. It's like another world, but it's also about us, and it also highlights what's, I think, the magic in our own world.
What do you mean?
Like in fantasy, often, for instance, there is magic that you can see.
Mm-hmm.
Like magic is in your face. There are wizards and sorcerers and whatnot. And nature is often emphasized and very magical. The trees are alive, and there are little fairies and little things living in the forest. And when you walk out into our forests with that notion, you can feel the magic there too. I feel, at least, like the magic of our nature. So I would say that fantasy is an eye opener in that way.
Yeah, I think I see what you mean.
Yeah. You could do some psychedelic drugs or whatever you're into. No, you don't have to do that. But I mean, it's there. The magic of our world is there if you just look at it. And I felt that the fantasy was deep diving into fantasy was somehow a longing for more, like something else, but it has more and more become for me a door into seeing the magic in our own world, and also a big inspiration for creation, because I really love this idea about world creating. And yeah, I started playing with clay, like moving from the two-dimensional drawing to the three-dimensional creating. And I never knew really what I wanted to be. That was never a question that I could answer for myself. So I started studying landscape architecture,
All right.
and I realize now that weirdly enough, because I finished that education and I never worked with it because I
No?
hate to sit. I don't like to sit in an office. It doesn't work for me. So I I started a little bit, but then I was just looking at the window, and I just wanted to be on the other side of that window, you know. But funnily enough, I realized that what I am doing now is landscape architecture.
Magical landscape architecture.
Yeah, mini landscapes.
I'm also getting the impression that you really like being outside in the sun and the trees and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's a little bit of a problem since I started this a year ago, a little bit over, because what happened last winter was interesting because I was really depressed last winter. And I took to my drawing that I hadn't been doing for a long, long time. And I just took that up again and I started drawing. And then I started watching YouTube. Somehow this came back to me, you know, the hobby that I never started, that I always wanted to start, this Warhammer kind of terrain crafting. I told you, Karl, I had been looking at those little miniatures and boxes in the store when I was a kid, and I was so drawn to it, you know, but it never happened.
Yeah, I can
But
imagine.
now it did.
I mean that those displays with the terrain and the miniatures and stuff are really designed to grab a child's attention. And let's be honest, most of us never really grew up.
No, no, who wants to? It sounds so boring to grow up.
But yeah, I mean, but it's really a really great thing that you managed to find your way back into something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, it's been a kind of an opening for, you know, yeah, not really knowing what I wanted, and because you're told so much about what you're supposed to do. You're gonna get an education, you're gonna get a work, yeah, depending on what kind of racing you have, of course. So it's difficult to come back, I feel, to what you really want to do. If you're not lucky enough to get into a hobby in a very early age that you don't let go of. Because I can see when I watch YouTube videos now and different channels of people who've been doing this for years and years, like since they were a kid. It's so beautiful to see how you can just find the passion when you're that young that just stays with you.
It's interesting because also quite a lot of people who are into terrain crafting or just gaming in general have this period when they play it when they're younger. They drop it for, I mean, in my case, it was like 12 years, I think, or something like that. Some people even longer, some people for less, but then they come back to it.
Yes, I've heard that a lot. So that was the case for you. You did it when you were a kid.
But yeah, I mean, the point you mentioned was really interesting because, yeah, once you get into the routine of work, it's really stopping and finding something new is tricky, at least.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think you're totally right about that. Okay, so shall we start to look at some of your work?
Yeah, sure. I could actually start here, Karl, because when this started, I started by watching a lot of YouTube stuff.
Okay.
And I was so into the Lord of the Rings thing, you know, the Middle Earth theme. That's like my dream world and has been from the beginning. So a lot of the stuff I was watching was, you know, MESBG, Middle Earth SBG. And then I came across, because there people were crafting Middle Earth terrains, and I even found some nice Middle Earth diorama creators. And that was what I wanted to do. And then I found someone, I think it was Swamp Rat Miniatures. Do you know about that channel?
I have never heard about the channel, but it sounds like also fun.
Yeah, he made a little Viking kind of diorama with 10mm miniatures. And then I just felt instantly, because I told you when I was drawing, it was like this detail. So that scale just got me right away. And just the idea of being able to build something epic in just such a small scale. So the first diorama I ever made, then maybe a year ago now, was, I don't know if you've seen, I just have a YouTube short video about it. And I don't, oh yeah, here I can see myself. It's weird, it's mirrored, but yeah. It's just the fellowship that, as you can probably see here, in a kind of epic setting. And just being able to do this in like 20 centimeters squared, getting the whole fellowship in a kind of epic setting was, yes, such a delight.
Yeah, working in small scale lets you make these massive things. I mean, because if you had to build that to the same scale in 20 millimeter or 28 millimeter scale, it would be gigantic.
Yeah, I like what would it be? Probably a square meter or something. You would have to.
So Quest Bertain is asking, is that bark?
Is that what?
Bark. I think she's talking about the rocks.
Yes, that's one thing I do. I use a lot of as much as I can. I'm not a very rich person. I know you can be rich in different ways, but I've chosen a lifestyle where I'm not moving around with a lot of money. So I both think it's very fun to see what I can find in nature or for free. And I suppose that's very common among terrain crafters, that you want to find these hacks,
Yeah, for sure.
The cheap and beautiful stuff. And I found bark to be, in this scale, incredibly simple and nice looking rock. It's a very bad resolution here, I guess. But if you want to see it, you can. It's on my YouTube Shorts. There is a short clip that displays this one.
Okay, just for everyone who's watching, the links to Erik's channel are in the description of this video, so you can look it up after this stream if you're not subscribed already.
And, you're very welcome to do that.
Okay, and before we continue, I'd just like to remind everyone that the community showcase on Discord is open. So if you want to show off anything at the end of the stream, please go in there and share your pictures in there. But back to Erik. Okay, shall we go to some of the photos you sent me?
Yeah, sure.
Here we go.
All right. Yeah, so this is, I don't know if you want to say something, Karl, or if I should just keep talking.
Well, the one thing I wanted to say was that I love how you do your vegetation, because it looks like so rich, and you've got that color variation, you've got the flowers and stuff. But it looks really amazing.
Yeah, I'm very happy. That's very kind of you to say, Karl. And I feel that what is probably felt is that, that's where my heart, I feel, mostly is. And when I started to doing this, that was the thing I was longing the most for. And when I fell in love with Middle Earth and Tolkien's trilogy, it was a lot the nature descriptions and this immense, beautiful world that he described. So I have so many images in my mind of this world that I want to recreate. And so creating the Shire vegetation has been a very funny thing. And in this diorama that I actually started pretty early. And then I've been working on it on and off. It's kind of a bonanza in this vegetation, and I tried so many different things.
Question is because I'm seeing the structure of the Hobbit hole here. Is that is that sculpted out of clay, or is that foam? Because I'm not quite sure.
Yes, I sculpt those little fronts out of clay.
All right.
Yeah, very simply done. It's just cheap air drying clay and basically the hobby knife.
Nice.
But yeah, it gets a kind of woody,
Yeah, for
woody
sure.
feel.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, and the vegetation for you who have seen the video on this or any of my videos, really, I like to, because this scale it's so small and the static grass can't be smaller than like 1.5 millimeters, something like that. So
Yeah.
so what I usually do is that I start with colored sawdust, like very finely sieved colored sawdust.
Something like
So
this in the middle here.
yes, and I use that for a lot. I start to basically cover the whole ground in different patches and shades, and then so that is like my lowest grass, you could say, and also resembles these little creeping herbs and maybe moss and stuff.
I got you.
And then I build on with static grass on top of that.
So you're layering different types of starting with sawdust and then layering on different lengths of static grass.
Yes,
Nice.
yes. And also working in patches there and trying to mix it. You can see to the right there in the image where it looks like flowers in the grass. There I have mixed in, yes, around there. There I have mixed in some different colors of colored sawdust in the static grass too, so that it gives this feel of being some flowering meadow kind of vegetation.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, and I like this. I sorry, Karl.
No, I was also going to ask you where you got your miniatures from, because these halflings look really cute.
I love them. I like the idea of this. They are from someone called Onimoi Miniatures. Can I write it in the chat here or something so you can maybe?
Yeah.
Where there is the chat, yeah. Or maybe here. Let's see if I on EO is a very strange name, but I've only seen these in 10 millimeters. It's called a halfling militia.
So
And
wait, are these 10 millimeters?
Huh?
Are these 10 millimeters?
Yes.
Oh, okay. They're really detailed. I thought that they were 28. I mean, a 10 millimeter halfling, a 10 millimeter scale halfling is very, very small.
Yeah, these are small guys. They're like 8 millimeters or something like that. And the Black Riders, in this case, the Nazgul, are from Wake's Emporium.
Okay.
And the idea of this diorama and the idea behind many dioramas and all the ideas I have in my head that I want to do, I wish I could divide myself into 50 Eriks just to be able to do because there are so many scenes I would love to do, and most of those scenes are actually either scenes that we have never seen in the movies or read about in the books, but that I imagine would have happened.
Okay.
Things that the fellowship might have been through on their journey without us knowing about it. And in this case, it's a scene that we got to hear very little about. And my idea here is that Frodo and his dudes have just left Hobbiton to go on there, but they have the Nazgul on their heels, and this is when the Nazguls come and look for Baggins, and they meet Lobelia and Otto here. Otto is armed with a pot on his head and a wooden spoon, and Lobelia is taking on the Witch King of Angmar with a frying pan. And I love that. I love that Hobbit toughness. So basically, this diorama is the idea of how it looked in the evening actually, because you can turn the lights off here, or you can put the lights on in the Hobbit homes also in this
Really? All right.
diorama. And yeah, I didn't send a photo of that.
Let me check. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Hoo,
yeah. So
hoo.
so actually it's an evening scene, where so on this image here, and the idea is that is Rosie, Samwise Gamgee's girlfriend to be. That's her mom standing outside, and her dad taking on another Nazgul riding in from another direction with the little pumpkins and bean poles there on the
Yeah.
roof.
I'm also noticing that you've got fruit in the trees. There are small animals running around. I love the level of detail you've put on this.
Yeah, I went a little bit overboard almost, I felt, with this, but I I really wanted to get the fertile. We got a nice comment there. Yeah, non-movie scenes. Yeah, because I love this world so much. So I just want more. So I love the idea of continue creating within this amazing creation that Tolkien made, like more Middle Earth, more lore, a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons, as I've understood, is built a lot. Like people are just expanding on the lore, and the world just keeps growing.
Pretty much, yeah. I see that Mia Gigit has joined us. Hi, Mia.
Hey.
But yeah, I mean, like filling in the blanks of the existing story, and this is good stuff. This is good stuff.
Yeah, but it's also nice to just dock it in, to if you can have some small connection at least to the foundational story or the original story, then you like old Gaffer Gamgee, he just disappeared out of picture. Yeah, there he is. He's that with his yellow door and. Uh, he has this, of course. He's the veteran gardener in the Shire, so of course he has a very like brimming garden of. He has these little cucumbers there made of cumin seeds, and he has the sunflowers and the pumpkins and everything. But now he's a tough guy here. Now he's driving off these weird invaders in black that they don't really have a big respect for. They just
Tell you the truth, I didn't realize it until you told me. But the thing with the garden is a really good piece of environmental storytelling. It's like, okay, you explain that he's the gardener without telling people he's the gardener because he's got this amazing front porch with all the stuff.
yeah, you could tell like the guy there in the hobbit hole next to him was standing there and just eating sausages in a kind of frightening way. His garden is not at all as impressive. he, he has some nice climbers going on there and stuff. But yeah, and then I actually yeah, then I leave a lot to the fantasy. I realize when I make these little movie clips, and maybe you can tell me, Karl, and maybe you guys in the chat too, because I had an idea. Now I made a video clip on the making of this diorama, and that's like I don't remember 13 minutes long or something. But would it be interesting to get another movie clip with more shots and like Karl is doing now? I mean, I like that, Karl, what you're doing now. Um, and then telling the lore, just showing off the diorama like this and telling the lore. around it. Do you think that would be interesting content, something you would like to see?
I think it would be very interesting content, but just because of the way that YouTube works, I would suggest making a separate channel for that.
Ah, okay.
Because you will notice that most YouTube channels are very specialized. So, for example, they just do the one thing. Because as soon as you start doing two different things, the algorithm gets confused, doesn't know who to show this content to.
Okay,
So it starts to work a bit poorly. In fact, you notice, for example, one of the people I can think about right now, for example, is the tabletop engineer. He's got one channel purely for building things and one channel purely for showing how to play games.
Okay, yeah, but that's good input. I would never have thought about that, because I would have thought, yeah, here is maybe two different playlists or something, the making of the dioramas and the showing. But yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's from my understanding and from most people I've talked to about it. It's like channels need to be specialized, otherwise it will never be able to get an audience, because literally YouTube will not know who to show it to.
Yeah, yeah, and like you say, it would probably be like some viewers would like both kinds of clips, of course. But some viewers, of course, are only interested in how to make the diorama or the terrain, and some viewers, of course, would be more interested in just hearing a nice story and looking at some nice images, if this appeals to them, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, the question: how do you make these the pumpkins and the gourds? I think I'm not sure what these are, but yeah, or watermelons.
That would be cabbage in this case,
Oh,
but
okay.
it can be whatever you want. It could be watermelons too, of course. But these are super simple. The cabbage or watermelons. That's just painted cum or coriander seeds.
Oh, okay.
So in the 10 millimeter scale, you like this zoom you made here. Like now it's zoomed in. I don't know, but they're much bigger now on our
Yeah, obviously. I
screens
me're
than
seeing
they
things about
are in real life. So
10 times the size. Yeah.
corianders. Yeah, maybe there maybe there we're getting closer to the real.
I can't even
Depending on
zoom
how big
further
your
out, but yeah.
screen is, of course. But you can say the Hobbit there is like 8-9 millimeters tall. So the seeds there are 2 millimeter.
Nice.
So that's very simple stuff. And the pumpkins I made out of clay. That's like a very
Okay.
very detailed little shaping with with tools.
And you mentioned the coriander seeds for the cucumbers, yeah?
Yeah, they're cumin
Cumin.
seeds. I don't know
Right.
if is it called that, the
Yes.
spice cumin. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the clay pumpkins there, it's a little piece of wire also for the little stem in them. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's fun to see it this close up. Yeah.
Different camera angle of the same. Nice.
Yes. I thought that was. I really like these guys. I like the little halfling miniatures. I think they're beautiful. But these Wakes Emporium, he makes really cool little sculpts, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So that felt like a nice dramatic image of actually the fleeing Black Rider. I like that idea that he had enough of these weird little guys. He's leaving.
You know, one great thing about this shot is that I'm guessing this is not very large. I mean, but the depth you've got in this shot is really good.
Yes, yeah, and oh, that's one thing. I'm definitely not a photographer or filmer in any way, so it just feels like I take some shots and stuff, and sometimes I'm just lucky with a shot. And I agree with you. That I'm doing everything: the filming, the photographers. Yeah, peppercorns. If you go back one image.
Okay.
I don't know who it is who's asking here. It just says Quest. Is he called Questboard Terrain?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Quest Terrain, yeah.
You see the berries or little fruit in the bushes, the red ones there. Yeah, that's a sort of pepper, and you can of course use any kinds. But I find different spices has been very helpful to make little fruits and
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, since we're in this shot, are the leaves sawdust on these?
Yes, and this is
Okay.
fun. I haven't made a video of that yet, but that those bushes that they are growing from
Mm-hmm.
there in here, that's a kind of grass that I found that had this dried grass that had old flowers that were looking like this that were
Okay.
dried. So it was like a perfect little bush from the beginning. So I just picked those and I dipped them in diluted PVA glue and just flocked them with dyed sawdust or
Huh.
colored sawdust. It's probably called. Yeah. So yeah, I try to use as much as possible from nature, and you find cool stuff, little trees all the time.
Yeah, I remember one of your videos was literally just taking a piece of stick or what was that? I think it was a little branch or something like that.
Yeah, like a little dried flower. I don't know what the word would be, but yeah, just some dried flowers, and they look like little trees already. I just posted one the other day of such a tree making.
You know,
Yeah.
the one thing that because they do look exactly like trees, especially at a 10 millimeter scale, they're perfect. The one thing that concerns me is that for using a diorama, they're perfect because a diorama just sits there, you don't touch it, whatever. For gaming pieces, I find that they're too fragile.
Yes.
So that's something to think about as well.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, oh wait, I have those here, Carl. Actually, I realize some different kinds I have here.
Ooh, nice.
So yeah, these ones, these ones are from a flower called Buddleia.
That's a pine
Uh,
tree.
yes,
It's
yes,
literally a pine tree.
and
Yeah.
it was pretty fun because I posted on Reddit and on YouTube when I make these. And on Reddit, that became my most like viral post ever because there was some dude who said, "Can you smoke it?" and yeah, everyone thought it looked like weed buds, so that became kind of a funny thing. There, I think it got like 70,000 views or something. There was, yeah, I haven't tried. I said I haven't tried, but there is plenty of glue in it, so I wouldn't recommend it. And yeah, so that's Buddleia, and the flowers just look like this, super simple. And then you just dip them in glue and flock them. And actually, Karl, I will show you later, but I think they might work for playable terrain too,
Mhm.
depending a little bit, because but if you break them, you can just go out and pick some new.
True.
So so they're completely free. So we will try it in our new D&D terrain, and I can show you a little bit about my ideas in the modularity there, because that might be a later thing if you haven't gotten tired of me by then. But I'm moving over. I've only done dioramas up to a certain point where I felt I wanted to start playing too. So now my new idea is to make diorama like but more modular, playable terrain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still going to be as beautiful as a diorama that you want to have in your shelf and just look at when you're not playing. But it's also supposed to be playable, so you can bring it down and
Well,
start. Yeah.
you see that behind me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that playable?
I made it to be playable. I just also, since I don't know where to store it, I just hung it on the wall.
That's awesome! Wow, that's awesome. Can I see it a little bit closer, Karl?
uh,
No, maybe
was
you can't lift your.
because it's a bit large, so it's
But maybe you have
2
a
feet.
video on it.
Yeah, I can send it video later. No worries.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But yeah,
Yes, I
back.
think it was the video when I made these I showed you were talking about, maybe.
Yes, I think
Uh,
that's the one. Yeah.
yeah, so this is another flower that is growing down by the sea here. And yeah, then I glue a little piece of wire to it, and then I make tiny holes in my terrain that you can barely see. So you just stick it in
I see.
wherever you want to have it.
But again, that looks like that looks so much like a tree. I mean, it's like
Yeah, it's crazy. Like nature is magical. Like I said, when I
yeah.
was all hippie like in the beginning there. But that nature works in fractals like this. It's so cool. Like if you zoom out, you see the same structures in a huge, massive scale and in a small scale. Like you can see the galaxies are taking the same shapes as things in a much smaller scale and stuff. So yeah, this is definitely just a fractal of a of a tree. And I think the last ones here are the best actually,
Okay.
with flowers that looks like this, and they are yeah I find very realistic miniature trees.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, these are growing everywhere. It's just go out and harvest. But wait until they die, because we don't want to kill the living ones unnecessarily.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, wait.
And they will probably rot on your gaming board too if you pick them too early.
Yeah, I mean, like, pay some respect to the plants and stuff. You don't want to be ripping everything up.
No. Yeah, I wonder if we have. Yeah, here I think it's mostly plants actually that I made. Like you see the bush there behind the Witch King. It's supposed to resemble a kind of hazel bush, and are just made out of string, jute string
Mm-hmm.
that I cut and shape and then spray paint so that it gets kind of stiff and then flock with sawdust. And the creepers that you can see climbing there on the stone wall, that's just layers of to the left. Yeah, there, for instance, and to the left of the stairs, there is maybe easier to see.
Ah, yes, yes.
Yes, that looks like ivy that is climbing there. And that's just layers, like PVA glue directly on the wall, and then just sprinkling sawdust in different fractions.
I see. Nice. And
So no rocket science here. It's just simple. But I think those, yeah, just coffee stirrer fences.
what's this material here?
It
The
that sponge. So I guess you call it foam flocking, right?
mhm. Okay.
But you just take your regular sponge from the kitchen and cut it down, and then you shred it
Okay.
and color it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
there you have your trees, Karl, on top. Uh, that was so funny when you sent that comment because I had like last winter when I was looking into all of this, I looked at so many videos and then I got inspired by one video to do this spinning the wire
mhm.
around some string. And then finally, a year later, I decided to do something similar. And then I made a video, and then you said, "Yeah, I've done those," and I was just like, "Oh, that was you." That's amazing. So that's actually Karl that has very much inspired me for those trees.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the original idea came from Chicken's Tabletop Gaming, and I had just made some tweaks and adapted it to smaller scale. But I think the comment was most to tell you that you don't even need the glue spray because once you spray it with varnish, it's I find it to be a better adhesive for very small things.
Yeah, and the varnish, because then you also did 10 millimeter stuff, right? Those were really small, those
Yeah,
trees. Yeah. So what terrain was it you made them for?
I just made some scatter terrain. So it's a base with 5 or 6 trees. So you have several bases of trees so that you can mark out the outline of a wooded area.
Yes.
Okay, so you can set them up in different ways on the tabletop when you're playing different games. Is this
Yeah,
halfling
so here you
waving a pair of pens in the air?
Yeah, he has he's like hanging his pants there on a clothing rack is the idea. Actually in the halfling militia that he's included in, he probably he's some kind of weird banner man, with the hand banners.
Okay, I mean, seeing the detailed shots of each different part was really good. But when you see all of it like this, it really looks amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for saying so. Yeah, it's I love this. This is exactly what I get this image in my mind of what I want to create, and yeah, it tends to be pretty close to what the final result is because I follow this very. Yeah, I have this image as a guide, and yeah, I want this just really lively landscape where a lot of stuff is happening in 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 many different places at once. And I love this idea of being able to discover new things every time you look. Like, oh, there's a little guy over here too. What is he doing? Like,
Yeah, and you've got pigs up here, and
yeah, yeah. This guy you see the guy with the pants,
yes.
and then you see the black rider above there. Yeah, and in front of him is a guy drinking beer with a green shirt. No,
This guy.
yeah, over
Okay.
there. Yes, exactly. And my idea was that because you can see the poles there to the left of him, the tripods, that's how you grew hops back in the days.
Oh, okay.
Hops for ale, and the Hobbit loves ale, of course. So he's hanging out there by the hop plantation and having a beer. And the very ridiculous lore about him is that he is the doorknob maker in the Shire. And since everyone already has a doorknob, he's just drinking beer now and relaxing.
Yeah, he's not. He's got nothing to do, so he just chills out. As a
Yeah,
hobbit
he's
should.
done. He's retired.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is
it's
the night
it's
scene.
an interesting For me, I also like, and that might not be very common in the crafting or in the hobby, but I like the peaceful aspect of the Shire and of all of Middle Earth and in fantasy. So I've been looking a lot for peasants and like civilians amongst miniatures.
Yeah, they really
Because
are
here
hard
in
to
the
find. Yeah.
Shire, yeah, it's super hard to find, and with in the 10 millimeter scale, it's almost impossible. You can find just a few. So all these little hobbits, they are the halfling militia, so they're off to fight. But I've tried to put them in settings here where it looks like they are a little friendlier in a way, like. But now I actually got a dude because I don't have a 3D printer myself. But now I got a person to print out 28 millimeter civilians shrunk down to this scale.
Oh, okay. That's nice because
Uh,
yeah, I can understand that it was especially for 10 millimeter scale. They're mostly used to represent large armies.
yeah, yeah. Very few civilians, but now I have all these civilians going that were made and sculpted to be printed in 28 millimeter scale, like this woman who's, yeah, I don't know if you see the detail here, but so now I have tons of civilians to work with from
Huh,
now on. So that's nice.
yeah,
But it was a little bit difficult to find someone who wanted to do that for me because you can lose a lot of detail and it's not a very secure
yeah.
process, I
They can
think.
get a bit fragile, especially if there are any really thin parts at 28. Then they're almost non-existent.
Yeah, yeah. I saw we got a couple of comments here, Karl.
Yeah. So
There is this.
campaign terrain high cross is saying I'm the same way. I like slice of life far more than all combat all the time.
That's awesome. Amazing. I'm not alone.
No,
Yeah,
definitely
but
not.
then I will you will get a lot more of that then because we have a lot of peasants going and I would like to see a lot of nice, ridiculous little everyday scenes happening, hobbits drinking beer and yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay, and Quest Bortalin asks, do you wire lights or use tea lights?
Both. In this one, since this was a very early start for me, I have actually just holes underneath every hobbit hole, so I can put a single tea light in every hobbit hole. And in this case, I really like that because then you can turn on and off. You can choose which hobbit hole you want to be lit up. But after that, I started to wire lights. Um, yeah, I don't have any. Yeah, maybe I have.
Ooh,
I don't know if you've seen this, Carl.
it looks
It's
amazing.
actually one of the few non-Shire dioramas I've done, or not non-Shire, but non-Middle Earth. But it could absolutely be in Middle Earth somewhere. It's like supposed to be a wizard's tower.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah, very much.
I actually made it for my girlfriend. She got it as a Christmas gift because I told that story in a video when I met her a year ago. I had just started this, and yeah, she had a little bit difficulties to wrap her head around this weird dude who was just yeah, like her. So one of her friends said, "Yeah, so what is this Erik guy doing, really?" And then she said, Actually, I don't know, but I think he's building some kind of little wizard landscapes. So yeah, so for Christmas he got a little wizard landscape.
That is a lovely looking wizard landscape.
Thanks, man. It was my first attempt with snow.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just it's wall filler and it's baking soda.
Yeah, baking
And
soda
it
works
was,
really well for that.
yeah, definitely. Maybe I got that from you too, Karl. I don't know.
I don't think so because I only did one snow piece and it was pretty recent. Well, before this, it was within this year.
Okay, so you haven't posted anything on it. No, but I was amazed also. It kind of even glitters a little bit like fresh
The,
powder snow.
the way I tried it was just PVA and baking powder, but yeah, mixing it with filler, yeah, that's I'll have
Yeah,
to try
wall
that.
filler was really good. You could get this
Yeah,
thickness
yeah.
too. That yeah, so that's a good trick. But no, so now I wire the lights off most often, but I found it very difficult to find these flickering little LED bulbs. So usually I just destroy tea lights and take out the flickering light bulb because you want that, in a fantasy setting. You want this
The flickering
flickering,
candlelight or lamplight, yeah.
yeah, or a warm hearth. When you see the lights in a tavern, you want to envision the fireplace in there flickering. So
Okay, what I would suggest is if you talk to Terraintronics, he's on Discord, he'll be able to point you in the direction of where to get the
the
flickering LEDs
flickering
from.
bulbs.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have to kill tea lights anymore. That's amazing. What's his name? I'm gonna write it down right away.
Terraintronics. His name is David, but he's Terraintronics on Discord.
Terraintronics.
Yeah, lovely guy.
That yeah, and an ultra cool name too. Terraintronics. Awesome. Yeah, thank you for asking that question. That was great.
So I do have a related but different question. Speak of the devil.
Oh, he's
Hey, David.
there. Awesome. Maybe you can drop in the chat for people where to get these lights then, or is it you that are providing them? Maybe even.
Campaign terrain.
Yeah.
Baking soda will turn yellow. Meanwhile, I'm looking at this stuff from the 80s, still bright white. I,
Okay.
I,
There you go.
I think there's a thing about that. If you leave it unsealed, it will turn yellow eventually. But if it's mixed with filler or if it's varnished on top, or it's just going to be fine. But yeah, if you
Okay,
just
and
leave it
maybe
exposed, it will turn yellow.
yeah, and isn't it the PVA that also turns yellow?
It depends on the PVA. Wood glue probably
Okay.
does, yeah. Plain
Okay.
PVA, not really.
But I'm using the cheapest one. Okay, it's your website. That's awesome.
Okay, actually, let me just look it up for a sec, and I'll post it in the chat. But still, the question I wanted to ask you was, yeah, uh, do you plan out your builds or do you go for start putting things together and see where it goes?
That's a great question. And I also realized that I'm sitting here answering questions about my terrain and sounding like I am someone who knows this. But bear in mind that I'm like a super rookie. That I feel like I really like that you like my stuff, Karl, and I also think it turns out good. Like I'm happy with this, but I'm experimenting all the time. So everyone here who's like take my advice with a with a big grain of salt and try for yourselves because yeah, yeah, maybe my snow will turn yellow because this landscape have only existed for 4 months. So yeah, it's a constant experiment, and I try new stuff. And to answer that question, Karl, thank you so much, man. um, no, so I have this image in my mind of like that image just comes
Mm-hmm.
in the like for my inner eye of the scene, and yeah, like this basically, and it comes together with a lot of close-ups of the little separate scenes within the landscape, and it also come with a feel like an emotional kind of tone, like a mood that I want to create. So
Okay.
in this case, the mood was like, okay, there is a hostility. There is the Shire immense beauty, like this untouchable beauty that is just you can't soil it. That is in the video where I make this, I'm speaking about it as a power in itself that is just the Shire power. And then the hostile Black Riders kind of coming in with their fierceness and evil, but they can't really, get to the Shire. The Shire is too nice for them. They're so alien here. And then there is this humoristic touch with the little hobbits that, oh, like with the frying pans and
Yeah.
wooden spoons, and some of them are drinking ale and don't give a damn, don't give a beep, and and some of them are just gardening or feeding the cows or whatever they're up to. So I get this image, and it comes like images and a story,
All right.
and then basically I just start to build. So I'm not drawing it out. I'm just starting to, yeah, my hands are just starting to carve out of foam this image, and yeah, then it's just, yeah, it's a weird process actually. It's just sometimes it's just like I'm watching the process happening, because I don't think if my mind, I can't interfere too much with it, with my mind, because then I would probably get stuck. Yes,
Uh,
up here, Karl, it's an idea that this is bag end, of course, on
okay.
top here, and of Lobili and Otto has just led their hands on bag end, finally.
Yeah, they've just moved in.
Yes, and now these black riders, like they think they're thieves. They're coming for the silver cutlery here or something. So they just come out and try to defend their beloved bag end. There is a little mystery here, though, because if you see to the left there, and there is a little gardener up working in the garden, to the left in this image. I don't know if he's in another image better, but yeah, who's that guy? Maybe it's Samwise Gamgee's brother or something who's taken over that job, but you can you can imagine yourself who
Yeah.
that might be.
Yeah, I mean, the beautiful thing about having so many details is that you can pick one and then just let your brain tell itself a story.
Yes, yes. It's just I have my version, but it's very open to have your own.
This is northern Sweden in the summer. I'm not sure what you're asking about, David.
No, but I would say it's more like southern Sweden. Northern Sweden in the summer. Now I'm exaggerating, but but no, northern Sweden is also green and nice in the summer, but it's not that lush. It's more envision, yeah, like the images in the movies, more maybe Rohan scarce. Oh, we're moving to a different landscape now.
Yeah. Okay, I guess this is more of the. Wait, or is this the one you showed us earlier? The with the
I can
buildings background.
yeah, I can show you here actually first, Karl, because I started to build this Rohan village. I don't know if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I started to make the Rohan village trilogy, and that was supposed to be a diorama, but after a while there, while working with it, I started to be more and more interested in trying to play, like do tabletop gaming, try Middle Earth SBG or maybe Dungeons and Dragons. And yeah, so I asked people on Reddit, like, what would you like? And on YouTube too, like, would you like this to be a diorama or would you like it to be playable terrain? Because I'm kind of open for, it's an open-ended build. And now I've landed in an in-between, like I told you earlier. So I want it to be a beautiful diorama, but I also want it to be playable. So this has now turned out to, which I haven't posted yet, the video on, but I'm starting to find it kind of done like this. But then the new thing about it is this modularity. So if I just bring a tree down here, and then you can start decorating it
I see. All
as
right.
you please with these little holes I make, and also for you guys who maybe have seen this trilogy with King Theoden and his little adventures. Now he got his very own little base here. So he doesn't have to be stuck in the landscape. He can just move in here and be free.
The king has fallen.
Yeah, he fell. Yeah. So it's still a diorama that you can have in the shelf, but you can also play on it. And of course, it has lights too, as you see here.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, so this is the new idea, and that has opened a completely new dimension for me. Because deciding that, yeah, here is the tavern, and here lives the major, and I can start going and visit these places, with my friends when we play. That has, yeah. No,
And if I remember correctly, you build the base to that size so that you can just put more bases next to it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So this will be, yeah, I think we have maybe a photo on that because it will, but I
Yeah.
started with this and the video on this will soon be out, I think next weekend. And then I fixed, since it's 10 millimeter, I had to fix some of it. Yeah, exactly. So I built the lower village there. I started to build that parallel to this one. So I decided to build them in almost a square foot, you could say,
Hmm?
33 by 33 centimeters square, so that I can just continue building this world. So the idea now is that every diorama I build from now on will be a part of this world. So it will be like an infinite gaming board that can just grow and grow. So
Sounds like an
if
excellent
you
plan.
see, excuse me, Karl.
I said that sounds like an excellent plan.
I love it because then it has these two dimensions of a little artwork and something that you can interact with. And then I'm working with modularity. So these houses in the lower town here, I can show you maybe also. Yeah.
Nice.
So then we work with another
Oh,
kind of
come on.
modularity here. So you could yeah, next time you come to the village, maybe this house has burnt down, then it's just rubble here, and yeah, of course the trees will work to put here, and I'm building all these little modular palisades and stuff.
Did you magnetize the buildings, or are they plugged in? How do they? How do you stick them?
Yeah, I haven't come to that, but this one is magnetized, but these are still to be magnetized. So I couldn't put this on the wall yet, Karl,
Aha.
but maybe later. And so me and my friend now, who's going to be the dungeon master in this campaign, and this is another idea I would like to bounce that off of you too, because I also like it to be compatible with the different worlds. So of course, in Middle Earth, this is Rohan, but in Dungeons and Dragons, when we're gonna play this campaign, this will be the village of Vigblot in the province of Urukholt, in the country of Sigerheim, and maybe I don't know, Warhammer Fantasy. It could be something else, and so yeah, so there will be Rue next up here. No, maybe it's easier we show the image that you were having up there earlier, Karl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the next square to the right there, where you can see the white side, that will be a town of ruins, the next square that comes. And yeah, that will be, I think, in Middle Earth strategy battle game, that will be compatible with the Amon Hen scene.
Ooh.
With the ruins, where Boromir dies.
Okay.
But in this world, it will be something else. So I like that idea too.
Apart from looking really good, one of the things I like is thinking as a gamer now rather than as a terrain maker or just for the sake of diorama. I like that you've got different elevations and
Mm-hmm.
you've got different paths through the place, because that can change up the game very significantly.
I'm very glad you say that, Karl, because there you realize I'm even more a rookie. So I haven't even been playing yet. So, but I've been looking a lot on YouTube videos and gamers, and then I'm speaking. I'm doing this world creation right here in pretty close contact with my dungeon master. So, and he has been playing a lot of tabletop war, yeah, war gaming. So he comes in with good input too. But yeah, there I'm also learning as I go, and when I start playing, I will of course realize that, oh, how could I do that? That's just stupid, that's not helpful. But yeah.
No, the thing is that it's an old friend of mine. He's mostly a World War II gamer. He just mostly plays for war games. He mostly plays World War II games. But a mental exercise he taught me was like, if you want to come up with a sensible layout for a place, just look at it and think, okay, if I had to defend this place, where would I put my guns? Where would I put my whatever? Okay, and then because with this village where people live, it's not necessarily made to repel a siege. Okay, for example, I can tell you, if you put a sniper up here, for example, You don't want to be approaching from this street because he'll peg you, and from here.
Yeah,
But then you've
clear
got a
shot.
way of
Yeah.
sliding around the back around here. So it's just again kind of playing around with the scene in your head and say, okay, this could work. This maybe I made this bit too open, so it doesn't make sense because no one will be able to get across there.
Yeah, but that's great. And yeah, that's also kind of landscape architecture there, Karl, because it's like working with, we call it sight lines in landscape
It's exactly
architecture.
sightlines. Yeah, it's exactly sightlines.
Yes. Yes. Campaign terrain is saying something there.
But I only build when it's 25.
Yeah. No, the epic scale. We can read what it says there if everyone can't see.
I only build
I
when
would
it's 25.
Yeah, you can read, Karl.
Okay. I would love to build the entire scenes like this, but I only build at 1:24. No way I have the storage space for that. Sorry,
No,
he's saying
I
1
would
to 48.
definitely need a bigger. Oh, 148 scale. Okay.
But yeah, it's just like we were saying earlier. If you're building at 28mm scale, it basically it more than doubles the size.
Yes. Or like triples, right?
Almost triple. Yeah, it's almost triple.
So yeah, and that's why I started from the beginning with the 10mm scale, because I love this epic. They call it the epic scale for an obvious reason. You can get so much into a small space, and it comes with a cost, of course. Like if I would try to build interiors for these buildings, that would be like very tricky, of course.
But also then to play with that, you'd need tweezers to move things in the building. It's like
Yes. So we will play. With because it won't be War Master. It will be, here is my little recently based fellowship now.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I love the fellowship, I had to do them, and yeah, we will play with them like individual minis, like you do in in Warhammer or here's Boromir, by the way. And yes, like you say, we will need tweezers, and you will have to. I based these guys with this screw washers.
Okay.
So they get this heaviness, which makes them. I realized makes them sit better.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they get, yeah. So, but that would be a challenge, of course. If someone bumps into the table, then you could have a mass death instantly.
I mean, it could happen.
Yeah. You will have to build that into the rules somehow.
Yeah, kind of an earthquake thing.
Yes. Yeah, so here I'm showing you just a little bit of the modularity I was talking about with the possibility to furnish with different vegetation and yeah.
Okay,
and the props also, I didn't talk about those, but I thought that like single barrels and crates and little sacks of grain or vegetables or stuff, those I glue to the diorama. I have to fix those because they're so small they can barely stand.
That makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't even leave them as single pieces in a 28mm setting because, again, it's just too small and fiddly.
Yeah, so if you go up to the landscape there, if you pan up to the landscape, you can see outside the house there, I've actually fixed these, and I, because I love these details, that there is a barrel standing outside the door or a little sack or whatever, crate. But then the bigger collections of crates like that could obviously stand by itself. So those you can spread out as you like. From game to game, session to session.
Yeah, that's good scattering. But just like you said, I mean, like even on larger scales, just a single barrel on its own is you're just going to lose that piece.
Yeah, it's a small thing. Yeah. Yeah, you have to have very, very flat. And like you can see, I don't like flat so much. Yeah, so this I haven't seen this before. This kind of modularity with the wire and a tiny hole. But I liked that like having a wire attached to the tree and a tiny hole. But I like the idea of because I've thought about working with magnets, but then I had the issue of if you don't want to put the tree there, then either you will have a magnet that is showing, and that doesn't feel very nice, or you will have an invisible magnet that these screw washers of the minis will be drawn to instead, and that
Oh yeah,
didn't
oh
work.
god, I didn't think of
So,
that.
so that's why I came up with this, and I like the idea there that when you don't have the tree, the hole is not disturbing in any way because it's so small. So yeah, that was my idea. We'll see how it works.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say that as far as the idea go, it's not new. It does work.
No,
Yeah.
no, I would be surprised.
But because the only time I've seen it done was sometime in the 90s, and it's not very common to do it that way.
It's not common.
Yeah, but I'm not sure why, because I mean it works great, but just I think people just prefer to have bases of trees for larger scales or stuff like that.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean this works really well.
I get that. And if I was, because I've been thinking about that, and if you come from most people, I would guess, who is building terrain, they come from the gaming
Correct, yeah.
direction into the terrain building. But I'm coming from the other side, from the terrain building into the gaming. So for me, it's so important. And I'm not saying it's not for the gamers who builds terrain, but for me, it's so important how the terrain looks.
No, absolutely. I
So,
mean, I'm totally
so
with you on
I'm
that one.
always trying to find the ways where it now I'm in, and that's a very funny creative process where I'm trying to find the ways now. How can I make it as realistic as possible, but still modular? So that's yeah, something that is invented slowly.
Now that you mention it, I'm just thinking because yeah, from the side of most gamers, I would think, or people making terrain for games, mental process usually starts with okay, you have a flat table,
Mm-hmm.
and you add things on top of the table.
Yes.
Basically, what you're starting from here is I'm going to go ahead and call it a sculpture because it's got all those contours and stuff, and then you're going to and then you're adding features onto that. Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
interesting how the process works.
Yeah, it's just from another direction.
Yeah.
And it's funny also to hear the feedback I've gotten when I've thrown these questions out on Reddit and on YouTube. Because some like, oh, you could never play anything on that. That's just impossible, you know. And others have just, whoa, I would love to play on that. So it's been very interesting and very helpful also, like all comments, like the guys who have like said you can definitely not play on that, then that's been very interesting. Then I said, okay, why? And then you get all these good advice out of it. So yeah, I guess it depends. Of course it depends a lot. I mean, if you play games with huge armies and stuff, yeah, this is not an ideal setting. But for other games,
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're playing like this with individually based miniatures, it's absolutely no
yes.
problem. The only thing I would suggest being watching out for, and again, this comes from messing up a lot of projects myself.
Mhm.
make sure that the distance, like you have those two buildings, for example, and I know that the buildings are removable, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have something that is not removable, make sure that there's enough space for your hand to fit it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a mistake I made
that's a good
many
idea.
times.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, I mean, there's absolutely nothing unplayable about this board. And by the way, I really like this the growths on the roof.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a cool process. Also, I started with lot less moss, but then I just in the end I almost wanted them entirely overgrown, and it's static grass on there too. Some.
That is beautiful stuff.
You gotta love Gandalf.
Everybody loves Gandalf.
Yes. Yeah, it was one of the early dioramas I made. Was just this tribute diorama to Gandalf.
By the way, how do you do the stone textures on the buildings? Is that clay as well?
Yes, it's clay. I make the facades in clay, and if you want to see how these are made, it's the first episode in this Rohan Village trilogy.
Okay, perfect.
Where I just focus on making these houses. So they are just completed. The facades you see here, or maybe it's not called facades, but they are basically entirely made in clay, and then you have some wood, some coffee stirrers, and some barbecue sticks for the log on top there on the roof. Also, that's a barbecue stick. You can't see it here, but on
This
top
one, yeah?
of the house. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's a barbecue stick. And I do some of the textures. Hey, Grimwood Games.
Hey, Dave, good to see you.
Yeah, better late than ever. Very welcome. No, so I carve some of the textures out with my hobby knife, and then I have some 10mm texture rollers that I use too.
Okay. Nice.
So for the thatched roof, some of the texture is by a texture roller, and some I've been carving out with the hobby knife. But that's pretty comprehensive. That video that covers it in 10 minutes, so you can easily make these houses like everyone can.
Oh, this looks so
So
good.
here is the lower village then. Boromir is out on adventures here. I don't know. I have an idea that Boromir has a summer house in Rohan. I mentioned that in one of my YouTube shorts there, where I make little props. I make little ladders and stuff too, and here I'm also working with these. Like more kind of old Norse Stonehenge kind of structures that I want to have another. In our D&D campaign, we have several historical layers, and that central stone on the square there is a very important part in that story. Yeah, the idea that was a very high civilization that was completely wiped out, and that stone somehow remained from that, and that holds some really powerful magic that later civilizations felt and started to build their new society around that, and try to mimic it with their own little cute stones all around.
I see.
But I feel even in Rohan that could be, yeah.
I mean, if you look at all the Rohan stuff from Lord of the Rings, it's very Viking coded. It's very Scandinavian in design.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I mean, you can easily switch between one and the other very easily.
Yes. It feels like that. And I think Boromir here, he could definitely be. I mean, he will be a character in the D&D campaign as well, but then he will be some kind of Viking dude living here. Yeah, so here you see this little Stonehenge thing, and I love that you see the bark mountain
Mm-hmm.
as usual, and I love how that just naturally is layered like rock, and then the little rocks on top here in this kind of Stonehenge structure. That's just little gravel that you pick on any gravel path outside, and you find them in all different kinds of shapes.
I appreciate that you
So
did the thickness of the soil layer here, and
yeah,
because that's such a tiny detail, but I mean, at 10 millimeter scale, that's barely going to be visible. But once you get looked at, that adds to the so much to the realism.
I need to have it like that, Karl. I want to be able to look at it this close, and it still needs to hold up. I need you to be able to zoom in indefinitely here, and it still should look realistic. That's the aim, at least. Then you be the judge if it
No,
works. But
you totally did a great job of this. This is
yeah, it should pull off as a yeah, a real place.
okay.
Yeah, there you get some yeah.
I mean, I look at this, I start to hear the theme song playing in my head.
Yeah. You should watch a friend's new video now is out. If I can market him, the Wizard's Brush. He's
Okay,
fun. He's really funny guy. He's painting the armies, the 10 millimeter armies from Lord of the Rings.
nice. All right.
Uh, and I just saw the first scene in his clip. Then he was humming on that the theme.
Hi, Dungeon Matron. Good to see
Oh,
you.
that some. What did you say, Karl?
No, I said Dungeon Matron joined us. Hi, Lisa.
Hey.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Have you ever watched the Net One videos?
Oh yeah,
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 I mean,
definitely.
he's all about Lord of the Rings stuff. So yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah. That was one of the early inspirations too. Yeah, yeah. There are a few who's just doing this.
But again, I mean, with just sticking to Middle Earth, there's so much to cover that you could have 100 channels and still not cover everything.
Yeah, like I said, I could divide myself into 50 Eriks, and I would still have full time crafting to do if I was gonna do all the ideas that is moving around. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Michael is very welcome, but I guess he can watch this in the recording, right, Karl?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Okay.
this little stone wall here is actually just tiny pieces of what is it called again?
XPS home, yeah. Okay.
XPS foam. Yeah.
They're really tiny because that again, that's let's say that again, that is a 10 millimeter scale figure there.
Oh, yeah, and he's even smaller here. He's a cobblestone castings guy, and these hobbits. I decided that is Frodo, and they are like he's like 6 millimeters high or
Yeah.
something, seven maybe. Yes, they're super small.
Okay, are we at the end? So
Yes,
yeah,
but we've been going for a while now.
let me just bring this up again because it's too pretty to show.
Yeah, I'm actually having, and that's funny, I'm having a physical exhibition now in town here over the
Really?
summer. Yeah, so there is, yeah, so I'm going to be in the lib first in a library here in Halmstad that has they always have some kind of exhibition, and then there is going to be a kind of gaming day gaming weekend on the city library, the big library, and then they want to have my stuff there
That's so
too.
cool.
So it's going to be two weeks. Yes, so I love that people can come, and I I know you guys know this too, but it's not just us super nerds who like this. Like people, like almost everyone who sees one of these little landscapes is just like, oh wow, like it stirs something in us.
Yeah.
It's like it wakes the child in everyone almost.
No, yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's yeah,
And the other thing which I think is equally important is that someone sees this. They ask you where it's from, whatever, and you tell them, "Oh no, you get this stuff. You pick up these flowers. You pick up these piece of garbage,
yeah,
and you can make them yourself." And showing someone that they can build something with their hands is always an amazing thing.
yeah, yeah. It seems like people get, and it's easy. I mean, it's not. It feels like most of it is pretty straightforward stuff.
Yeah,
And yeah, and the idea of turning, like you say, garbage basically, or something you just find on your walk in the forest into, yeah, something completely different in a different scale, and hopefully something beautiful, something that gets people going.
yeah. I mean, it is another kind of magic because you start looking at things very differently. You pick up, say, for example, I don't know, a piece of stick or something. Yes, this is a perfect tree. Pick up a bottle cap. Yeah. Oh, this could be a well or something else.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. You see things. You get kind of crazy because you see things everywhere. I don't know if I. Yeah, I have my little bag here with spruces, like fir trees to be here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this is how these Buddleia flowers look before you flock them, and you can see you can almost use it without
Yeah.
flocking it because it's done. You need to, of course, seal it somehow a little bit and make sure there is not too much bugs in it. Yeah.
I mean, you
Oh
could have
yeah,
you could have
and I
giant
also
spiders on
have
the table.
this. I also have this heather. I haven't even tried them yet, but heather. For you play in a little bit larger scale, I've been able to use these in a couple of dioramas.
Looks great.
So
Yeah.
this is just dried dead heather, and um, this is one that I put some little static grass on.
Okay, I see it.
Then you get little more little branches on it. And this is a juniper tree,
Whoa.
and this is like a great fantasy tree,
It is, yeah.
just ready for flocking, or
Um,
without flocking, depending on which environment
I mean,
you do.
if you just put that down without any flocking or anything, that's a perfect creepy tree. If you want
Yeah,
to, yeah,
yeah, it's a great dead tree, in or I'm thinking of you've seen my Rohan squares now, but the future squares will be a kind of enchanted forest.
oh, nice.
And then I'm thinking that will also be able to double as Lorien or Mirkwood, and like perfect Mirkwood trees, I would say, these ones. And if you put the little minis next to it, let's see if I get some loose here. We put little Aragorn next to it. It's a pretty impressive tree.
Yeah, that's another thing about that always bugs me about 28 millimeter scale is you can in 28 millimeter scale you cannot really make realistically sized trees,
No,
but
they will be
they would be enormous.
crazy
Yeah,
high, right? Yeah,
But in 10 millimeters, you can just show a proper forest, like like a proper big tree.
yeah, definitely.
So we have
We
a,
have a question there. Yeah.
from Dungeon Matron, what kind of flower was the first one he showed? The what is it called? The Bodelia? I'm
Was
sorry.
it Oh, was it the one that looked like a fur? You mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I call them firs or spruce trees. If it was this one you meant, it's called Budleia.
Bodelia. And can we get it in the States? That one I have no idea about. Do you know if it grows in the States?
I'm pretty sure you have it there. That's the Latin name, Budleia. So they're also called butterfly bush because the butterflies loves them.
All right.
So when this flower is in its prime, it's purple, like my hat, basically. Yeah, I can send some to you otherwise.
Okay, campaigner is saying, right, a realistic pine tree would have to be 17 to 18 inches tall. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, it. I think it has a lot of advantages here, and yeah, the epic scale. I think the epic scale. I haven't been in the game, like I said. I've just been here for a year, but I feel that the 10 millimeter scale seems to be growing. Like more and more people show interest for the epic scale.
I mean, it is a very practical skill.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe again, for small stuff, like for example, if you have games that are set in a dungeon or whatever, then maybe you can have 28 millimeter because, most of things would be happening in a small room. But
Yes.
yeah, if you want to, large landscapes and castles and stuff, 10 millimeters is really the best way to go.
Yeah, I think you could work with. We discussed that, me and my dungeon master too. If we could work with a combination that if you enter the houses, for instance, in the village you see in here, then you could bring out boom a new terrain piece where you have the interior of the house in 28 millimeter
There you
scale,
go. Yeah.
or maybe in 15 millimeter scale, so that the stuff that is yeah, you found the layer there. That's great. Don't kill the living ones, though. Not in my name, at least. Wait until fall. No, but if you go out now, actually, it's just they're good to go. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, what you just said about switching the skills as you need, yeah, that again, also a very practical idea.
Yeah. I think we shouldn't be. You will have need to have double sets of miniatures, but if you who doesn't
Oh,
who wouldn't want to have that?
I mean, I don't think many people would complain about it.
No.
But yeah, I mean, other stuff. For example, you would only need furniture in one scale anyway, because it's only the interiors, so that's fine. You don't need.
Yeah.
It's actually not
Yeah.
too much more work, to be honest.
No, I like that idea because I don't think I could pull off interiors, like convincing interiors in 10 millimeter scale now. That would just be too crazy tiny.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you could 3D print stuff, of course, but I don't have anything against 3D printing. I'm getting my, of course, miniature still, but the ultimate dream would, of course, be to sculpt everything myself. But sculpting these 10 millimeter minis, that's just, yeah, you would have to be world's best surgeon kind of to pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know that the studio at Games Workshop at Citadel Miniatures used to do that regularly in the 90s. But to be honest, again, they never made a full run of 10 millimeter fantasy figures.
No.
Because so yeah, I guess at some point they were like, "No, please let us go. I want to work on something larger."
Yeah. No, I would break my eyes
No,
probably.
absolutely. I mean, like it would be very, very stressful on this.
Yes. Yeah, like, but looking at the facial expressions, if you go back to the
Yeah,
to the halflings in the beginning, I don't even know. Yeah, but like the little facial expressions in a 1 millimeter big face.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't even realize these were 10 millimeters until you mentioned it, because
Yes.
that guy had a lot of detail on it, for example.
Yeah, I mean that nose is like that's like a grain of sand, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's crazy.
And again, I mean, even this guy has a personality, and again, it's a 10 millimeter mini. This guy
That guy definitely has a personality. Yeah.
looks a bit terrifying, but also has a personality. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what he's up to. Like he's trying to bite his sausage in a scary way, so that so that the Black Rider is. Yeah, but it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what do you say if we have a look at Discord and see what people have posted in there?
Sounds great, Karl.
Okay, so first up we've got Dirty Basement Train. Crafted these mushrooms. Mushroom monster, sorry.
They are vicious. I love them.
Okay, see that he's added a lot of rats to the bases.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really, really cool. I mean, I don't know, am I supposed to comment on this too, Karl, or is it?
If you like, why not? I mean, I'm sure Lawrence would love receiving any kind of critique.
Yeah, no, I don't have any. Yeah, just positive critique here. I like the personalities of them is awesome. I would like to know the scale of them though. Are there on Dungeons and Dragons tiles there? Like,
Yes, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Lawrence usually works in 28 millimeter scale as well. I think most of us do.
mhm. So they will be how high? Like, are they?
Let me think. So let's say you've got the base is about 3 inches.
Okay, yeah,
So let's see. Hmm,
it's like 5 inches high
It's
or something.
about 5 inches high, 4 or 5 inches. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's impressive. It's an impressive detail. And it's I mean I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd, so they lead to maybe not this guy, but the guy up to the left there in the same image is
This.
like a little bit like the Watcher in the Water, like that style.
Yeah. Good point. I'm also thinking of what was that called? Old Man Willow,
Oh yeah,
the tree that
yeah.
tries to eat them at the beginning.
It's like those two got a child. We don't want to know how that happened, but
I also like that he's given every one of them different expressions.
yeah, it's great.
So let's see. This one is also from Lawrence from Dirty Basement Terrain. Morel mushrooms.
Yeah, they also kind of have personalities. It's like this. I can like see the face of the classical Scream. You know, the ghost from the
Yeah, you're
Scream
right.
movies, almost in them. Oh, is it the same guy? Yeah,
Yes, yes, same guy. This is Lawrence
yeah,
from
because I saw the
Data Basement
rats
Terrain. Yeah.
there. Yeah. Which game is it? Did you say that?
I'm not sure, but I think he built them for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it feels like that. Some kind of what is that Underdark stuff?
Yeah, with
It feels a
that's
little bit
all
like
the mushrooms and things. Yeah.
yes.
So yeah, that's Lawrence from Dirty Basement Terrain. And next up we have Kim from Questboard Terrain. Okay. I remember this. This was from a challenge we did on the channel a few years ago, and the challenge was to build something with baby doll heads. And can you see at the bottom you've got these ears and stuff?
Oh yeah. What did you say? Build something with
Baby doll heads.
baby doll heads. Yeah, okay, awesome. Oh,
Okay,
that's just creepy.
you have no idea that was.
Oh, that's like the scariest thing I know, dolls. But I guess I watched the Evil Doll too early.
Okay, let's see. This one was also from another crafting challenge, I believe, and that's also woodwork in there. And if I remember correctly, she had used some UV reactive light, UV reactive paint, so you could make the
Yeah,
whole
it's like
thing
this.
glow.
Yeah, it's like this super creepy creature with this. It looks like one of these deep water fish there to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool.
Okay, this is a small wizard study.
That's the one we should hire for building our interiors then.
Okay, and these are pieces from the bakery that she was working on.
Nice.
I think featured it in the last challenge stream we made.
All right.
Same then the same seeds that used for the cucumbers.
Yeah. It's also, but here it becomes like loaves of bread instead in this
Yep.
scale.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah, that's maybe the next thing that will have to happen to try some interiors. It's a little bit tickling. Oh yeah, there you get the scale of it. Yeah, with the minis.
Okay, now this one was also from a challenge. I can't remember what the challenge was though. But yeah, she converted this plastic rhinoceros doll into a torture device.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm always on the lookout for nice toys to like have for statues and stuff.
I know, right? Okay, this is also from Questboard Train from a Halloween challenge. And there was all sorts of UV reactive stuff and this, so you switch off the light, turn on the light, it looks completely different.
That's really cool.
Okay, next going on to Cross from Campaign Terrain. Currently building this building. Okay, Cross, are you having a stream this evening? Or, I mean, it's evening for me, it will be probably morning for you. But yeah, Cross runs weekly streams on his channel, Campaign Terrain, and he's currently building this house step by step.
Nice. Yeah, that's a nice idea. I'm starting to learn YouTube, but so I've never done any streams or anything.
Well, you've already been in one stream.
This is the first stream.
Yeah, that's what I said. You've already been in one stream. See?
Yeah. Now I'm getting to be familiar with it.
Okay, so let's see. So I glued these MDF discs to make barrels. First iteration, I don't like it. I think I'll paint them first and then add silver tape. Okay, barrels made out of MDF discs. I mean, definitely is a start. The thing with making barrels is usually that it's very difficult to get that the barrel shape basically, because
Yes.
most things that don't have that shape.
No. No, clay has been my best. Uh, like trying to roll them with clay, but yeah, it's difficult to get them really. They become very organic when you work with clay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we usually don't need one barrel, usually need several barrels. So possibly make one really good one and cast it or something. But what I'm thinking, Cross, if you wanted to get a barrel shape, maybe you could. It would take a large amount of effort, though. But I think you sandpapering down the edges so it takes the barrel shape. But yeah, that would be a lot of work.
Yeah, or if you can carve, you can carve a little bit with your hobby knife on the edges. That would maybe be my way to go. Um, I don't think I don't know if it works. What did you say? It was MDF.
MDF, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but that probably you could carve a little bit on that, maybe.
Yeah, I guess. So Campaign Terrain is saying that yes, he will be streaming tonight, adding the roof and shingles. Nice. I will
Sweet.
probably catch it tomorrow because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning for me or something like that.
Yeah, and me too. I'm kind of starting to need to wrap up a little bit here, Karl.
Okay, we just got the last one here, and yeah, because
Oh,
I
that's last. That's perfect. That's perfect. Then I don't
perfect.
have to miss anything.
No, I mean it's great because you see, or you've already got the streamer timing.
Yes. Oh, but can I see that again?
Oh, sure. One sec.
Yeah, but we were speaking about trees, that like yeah, some kinds of trees, of course, works very well in that scale, in the 28 millimeter scale too.
Yeah.
A full size oak, of course, would be
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
very difficult, but this works very well.
I see that Dungeons and Chronics joined us. Hi, DC. But yeah, okay, that was the last one, and thanks so much everyone for sharing your work. So Erik, thank you so much. It's been so much fun talking to you.
Yeah, you too, Karl. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I like I said, I was honored that you thought of me, and it was a great
I
chat.
mean, you do fantastic work. I mean, but yeah, and I really enjoyed listening to you talk about your reasoning process and your design process. So that was really interesting too.
Yeah, me too. Actually, it was interesting too because it was so nice to get the questions because then I had to, yeah, how is it really happening? Like because it's nothing I think so much about. So I learned a lot, and all the comments and questions too. I'm yeah, very grateful for those. It's yeah, it inspires me, and yeah.
So yeah, if you haven't subscribed to Erik's Mini Worlds yet, just do so because it's a fantastic channel. And Erik, thank you again so much. It's been great fun. So everyone, have a fantastic week and take care. Bye.
Hope